Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us here this morning on 20 Sides to Every Story. We are playing old school essentials within the Dolmenwood campaign setting, which is destined for a Kickstarter kind of imminently. I think that will be coming up here in July, August is what we know so far, so sometime later this summer. And today, this session that we are playing, we are going to be running one of the officially published modules from Necrotic Gnome called Winter's Daughter. So this episode could be your inspiration, your cautionary tale, whatever you need to get ready to prepare this module for your own table. I'm Alex. I'm the game master for this morning's game. And as always, I'm joined here by my friends Winston playing Silver the Elf, Issac playing Friar Fitzpatrick, Moreen playing Lillibeth the Hunter, Ryan playing Sir Geoffrey the Knight, and Chris playing Thomas the Minstrel. We're just going to jump right back into things here. So a bit of background on where we are as we're picking up. Group has entered the tomb of Sir Chyde, a human knight from times long past when the Duchy of Brackenwold was its own kingdom, predating the Empire of Lumora. And we are here because Sir Geoffrey had been led to this location through dreams that he has been having of a beautiful elven maiden who has asked him to come here to find a ring of bronze set with a moonstone and bring it to her. His infatuation with this dream, this individual, has led him to run off by himself to fulfill the quest, and the rest of the party went out into the woods to search for Sir Geoffrey. And now that their hunt has led them here, the group has decided to enter into the tomb, perhaps to learn why Geoffrey has been contacted in this way, perhaps in hopes of encountering a fey creature that they have been tasked with hunting down and finding by a droon in the woods nearby. Potentially multiple reasons or rationales for why they have delved into this area. But probably key among them is the fact that there is a storm that has been raging outside. The lateness of the hour led the group to think that the best course of action would be to hunker down in the tomb and find a place where they could defensively take a rest. And so this summer storm is raging outside. The group found within the tomb, interestingly enough, a chapel dedicated to Saint Sedge, one of the saints of the one true God. And they began to take their rest, their watch in this place. And you only got maybe a couple hours in when there was this wooden swollen door that Sir Geoffrey had tried to bash down, but just couldn't get it unstuck or dislodge it from its frame. But as the watch is happening, this grinding noise could be heard on the other side, and both at the bottom and at the top of the door are these worms with this lamprey like mouth just ringed with teeth that's grinding up and like churning that old rotten wood and depositing themselves into the room. And because of the nature of this, I don't know that it matters who was on watch. You had kept a candle lit, just casting kind of dim light over the room. I think you were trying to conserve maybe on torches and such. And so because of the situation, I'm going to say you're not surprised and you have enough time to kind of rouse everybody awake.
Are these the same kinds of worms that we dealt with earlier?
Yeah, so a little bit of a physical description of them. They're large. They're 4 feet long, kind of flat, almost leech-like in appearance, but they have this maw of teeth that I believe, Silver, you were the victim of, and they also discharge a acidic like saliva or goo when hacked or slashed into. So not probably something you're super eager to be dealing with, but that is where we're at as you're trying to take the rest. But yes, they are the same as what you have dealt with prior.
Okay.
So another thing here, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but my memory was that you're only relying on the light from that one candle. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to say you're not blind, so like you can attack in here, but it'll impose a -2 penalty until there's someone that strikes up like a proper torch or something.
Got it.
So with that, Ryan, if you want to roll us a
Is
d6.
Is anyone casting spells? No.
No, but I'll strike. I'll use my turn to strike up a torch.
Okay.
I don't know what I have. I don't know what that would be. But that just would be like action, kind of.
That'd be your action, but
Okay.
I'll say it can happen at the start, like right along with movement, so everyone will not have the penalty then if you're taking that up. So I rolled a 1,
That was a 5 for me.
so party goes first. Friar strikes up a torch. Light hits the entirety of the room. And basically what you got is there's one that's like burrowing at the base of the door, just burrowing, and you can see its elongated form is squeezing into the space. And then there are two that are kind of like depositing in down, kind of dangling from the tops, having chewed through the top of the door. So let's just kind of go left to right. Silver, what are you up to?
Moving up.
Moving
up with the sword.
And
I'm
Friar.
gonna get to like the side of the door, to kind of like, not facing them directly, but trying to like chop their heads off from the side.
Sounds good. I'll say like 2 to 3 of you can get up there and melee comfortably. After that, it would get a little crowded. Fire hanging more so towards the back with the torch.
Yes.
And Lillibeth, probably
I'm-
similarly.
Similarly, yes.
Sir Geoffrey
Right up in there.
and Thomas.
Going up in there.
Okay, so we got Geoffrey,
Singing
Thomas.
a little battle hymn this time. So
Nice.
Awesome. So we got 3 of you up in the melee. So next up, we will do melee attacks. So
All right, I'll go first. Miss, not good.
Throw them out the window. Get them out of there.
they're done. Melt them. Melt them.
I'm sorry. Well, we got yours.
I was going
but
to say range.
range should
but-
go first.
Range,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry. Range goes
This
first.
is what happens.
Yeah.
We've been off for a month. I forget.
Yeah.
So
My roll doesn't count then.
Oh, range.
it sure didn't.
Okay, so 11.
An 11. Now, what? Tell me how you got to an 11.
I had a 10, and then I get a +1 because of Dex.
And then you're short range. Don't short yourself on that. You get a +1 if you're in short range.
Then it's a 12.
Then it's a 12. A 12 will hit.
Okay, thank you. And then now,
Thank you, DM.
I think I'm going to ask
Yeah.
all of you to like show me your math because I think we're cheating ourselves sometimes.
4
4 points of damage.
points of damage.
All right, 4 points of damage. Let's see. There's a chance that you take one of them out. They have different hit
Oh,
points.
right.
So, unfortunately, you hit the one that is a little bit meatier. Maybe you picked out the one that was a little bit bigger just to make sure that the shot hit, and so it kind of skewers it. The arrow flies through its flesh, and it's this ichor is kind of pouring out of it a bit. The group that just rushed out of there, you instinctually kind of were waiting for that and kind of flinch and turn to the side, protecting yourselves. But it is still up, and then we will go back to our melee folks. Starting, how about Geoffrey?
I had a 17, and that was a 16 plus my 1 attack bonus.
Awesome. So, do you want to attack that same one that Lillibeth went after, or a new one?
I think I'll do the same one.
Okay, go ahead and roll some damage.
Oh man, what was my d6? A 3, and I think I get a +1. Yeah.
All right, so you're using a mace or a morning star, right? Mace.
Yep, a mace.
So as it gets kind of pinned to the door with that arrow, you go in for the kill where there's like sort of a head and it is big squish right there. You can see acid kind of dripping down off the side of the door, kind of dissolving or eating away at the wood. So that one is down.
Nice.
And then that'll bring us around to Thomas.
all right. 19
19 will hit.
for 5.
And similarly, what are you cutting with?
I'm using that silver longsword.
Silver longsword. So just like a scalpel cutting into a 6th grade biology project, slice right down the center of it, and it's just again, like it's kind of eating away at the door too, as it just kind of slides off the top. So we got one left, and that'll be the one that's coming in through the bottom. I think you all kind of were. Your attention was drawn to those things that were dangling, but there's still this one that's kind of crawling up from underneath, and then it'll become its turn. Which one is it going to try to lunge at? It's going to go for Sir Geoffrey. Attack roll. Kind of leaps up. Oh my gosh, a critical hit.
Oh.
So you're going to take 4 points of damage. And you also, as it bites you, it bites at your leg. You wear like a chainmail, right?
I think so. Yep, chainmail.
So it bites and cuts through kind of like right at your thigh, and some acid from its saliva is dripping down your leg. And so you're going to take a point of damage each round until you find a way to clean that off. We have
Right.
to do another initiative roll, second round.
And any spells? No.
Nope.
No.
4.
I rolled a 1 as well this turn. So these are slow worms. So you guys get to act first. Anyone changing any movement?
I'm gonna move up to. I think the friar's gonna move up to his brother, and he'll just put his hand like on his back, and you'll feel him kind of. I'm gonna just say that he does it right off the bat. Is that he goes and he's gonna take. I think he'll put on some gloves and just start trying to get that acid off of his leg for him to keep him in the combat.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds
Is the thing attached to him?
not attached. It's just kind of
Okay.
leaping up kind of erratically and taking a bite. And so it kind of attacks like that.
You're
Okay.
fine, brother. Keep on going. Almost there.
All right.
Ranged.
Ranged.
11.
And that's a miss.
That's
Okay.
what all three think.
All right. We'll go back to melee. We'll go right to left this time. How about Thomas?
All right. That's a 10 and an 8. So that is an 11.
An 11 will miss. Sir Geoffrey.
No, that's a miss.
All right.
Oh.
And you take a point
no.
of damage from the acid.
Ugh.
Was it not cleaned off from the Friar?
I'm sorry, what was the friar doing to clean it?
I had put on some gloves and I was wiping it off of his leg.
So, I mean, you could do that. You haven't really, you're kind of wiping it and scraping it, but it's not cleaned off.
Okay.
Oh
That's good.
no.
It's probably eating at your gloves a bit, dissolving those too.
I just throw it on
All
the
back,
floor.
Sir Geoffrey. We got this.
All right. I rolled 16.
16 will hit.
Yay. All right. And this is the two-hander. So for damage, that's going to be 4.
4 points of damage. Go ahead and describe how you destroy this thing.
I'm going to just like pin it straight into the ground with the two-handed sword, just twist.
All right. So that happens, and you're watching the door dissolving under the interaction of these things, blood and saliva. Go ahead, and I'll give you just a second, real quick. Tell me if anybody's doing anything to help Sir Geoffrey.
So I was looking to see if I had like water in my I do. I have a water skin, so I'm just like pouring water over
Okay,
it.
you go over there and you start pouring some water, and that seems to do the trick to wash it away.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I probably
as-
thought of that.
I carry this with me everywhere now after.
Yeah, that's true. You have the personal connection on that.
I am moving as the door is kind of dissolving and everything. I'm moving in that direction in case anything else comes that it'll, whatever will attack me and allow them to help him.
So you go over there, and as the door is starting to kind of dissolve, you're kind of listening. You don't hear any further disturbance, although these things only really made any noise once they started grinding at the door. Maybe take a peek in through some of the holes or crevices that are starting to open up, and what you just see, I think from your perspective at the door, is just kind of dark space on the other side. But you're maybe starting to get the sense that there's a room back there that's maybe like 15 feet wide from where you're standing. Like you can start to see a earthy wall on the other side of the door. The rest of you, just to kind of reset the scene of where you are at, wooden door over here. I'm going to take these tokens out so your anxiety levels can go down. Wooden door over here on this side. To the north where I have your token currently set, that is a stone door. If I said this door was locked, I apologize. It should not be a locked door. This one over here was locked and swollen. The rest of the chamber, just dilapidated old pews and this altar here that has the candle resting upon it. There's a ragged tapestry behind the altar that shows Sir Chyde and Saint Sedge meeting in heaven.
Can I ask if there are other candles that we didn't light up on top of this altar?
There was not. There was just this one candle that was held in a little statue that rests on the altar, the statue that kind of depicts Saint Sedge. Its hands
Okay.
are kind of all caked with the old wax from holding the candle when it was lit.
Thank you.
Yeah, there were a bunch of lit candles down like a little stairwell, but they were all floating around mysteriously. So
Yes.
if we need more light, I can try and maybe go down and grab a couple of those and bring them up, but I'd really prefer not to.
I know that we're weary and really could use a rest, especially Geoffrey with that nasty wound. Trust me, I understand. And I'll pat my leg that's like permanently disabled. And I'll say, seeing those things chew up that wood, I think that it might be wise to pursue going through the stone door. Maybe we can put ourselves behind something they can't chew through. I know we risk opening up some other greater horror, but I'm worried if we try to go back to sleep that we'll wake up to 7 worms instead of 3.
I like your logic. I
No,
can't
I-
really tell much in here.
I don't hear anything in that other room, but
I might hold up the light a little bit further to maybe
do we see
assist
anything
you
there?
in seeing anything through there.
So I think at this point, I would say, nobody cleaned the door of acid. And so I think at this point, take a turn off of the torch, but the door is probably pretty ruined at the point that you start looking at it. And so you could probably just push this thing down and it would fall to pieces, and you could very clearly see in the next room, you can see where the worms are coming and going from. There is a big tunnel in kind of the northwestern side of the chamber that probably you're making the connection to that tunnel that is outside on that side of the tomb, that this must be where it deposits into. It's probably fortunate that none of you climbed down that tunnel and got stuck in the tunnel with these worms. You also see basically what this room looks like is it looks like it was maybe a bed chamber or a private room, maybe for the priest who maybe lived down here or took care of this chapel or whatever the case is, because there is a dilapidated bed in here. An old moldy writing desk can be seen on the southern wall. And yeah, most of it seems to have been ruined or chewed up by the worms, but the remnants of the desk are still sort of intact.
most bed chambers have means of illumination. Let's look in there and see if there might be a lamp or a lantern or something like that.
I do happen to carry a lantern as well, in case that's relevant. But I do want to go in there and open that desk.
Yeah, if the desk is intact, I would say I would like to rifle through it.
Sounds good. Mark another turn off of the torch for the time spent in
Alright.
here.
When they're looking at the desk and everything, I'll move to the hole in the wall, and with my superior hearing, I mean, I guess I have a skill, hear noise check or whatever. I want to go up and just more or less stand there while they're doing that and keep an ear to see if I hear any of these things coming.
That sounds good. So you're listening at the tunnel itself. Do one of you have a higher chance of finding like secret doors?
Yes.
Okay. So Silver, I'm going to be sort of transparent on some of these because I want you to know that I'm doing these things in the background, but basically I make those rolls for you, and I just
Got it.
rolled a 2. So you would find something while you're searching.
Cool.
So
And I've got 2 and 6. So
And Alex, I went ahead and I rolled a hear noise,
okay.
and I rolled an odd 5 out of 20%, so I made it by 15%.
I would say you probably are. What you're hearing is the falling of the rain, the sounds of the rain hitting the open clearing, and then the sound of them also hitting like the leaves and the trees and such in the forest. So a little bit of a. It sounds like it's maybe lessened a bit in terms of the intensity of the storm, but still raining outside. There might even be a little bit of leakage or water kind of coming down and pooling at the base of that tunnel.
Okay.
Silver, as you're walking about, and maybe Geoffrey has gone directly to the desk and you're kind of tapping about the room, your foot kind of catches a loose flagstone, and you take a look perhaps underneath and you realize that there's a metal box under there concealed away. Just a small little box.
I was like, oh, I think I found something interesting. And I'll pop the stone over with my foot, and then before I put my hands down in the box, just take a cursory look for like tripwires or darts or anything like that.
Sure. It looks like the kind of thing, maybe like a jewelry box kind of thing. So you don't see anything that strikes you as trap.
All right. So I'll grab it, pop it open.
All right. It is locked.
Okay. I jimmy it, it's locked. I don't have any lockpicking skills. I don't think any of us do, actually. Actually, Thomas, do you have lockpicking skills?
I do not.
No.
If you put it in your pocket, maybe I could pick it. I have pickpockets. So is that a work?
Pocket and stand oblivious.
Is that a workaround?
An old box.
In your nose, I can. Oh wait.
So I have a spade. Like, would I be able to try to kind of like wedge that in the door or in that little thing to try to pop it open?
Spade is probably a little too much, but like if you have a dagger or something like a little finer, you might.
I've got a dagger.
You're gonna wedge a dagger in there and try to.
Yeah,
torque
I'll try
it.
to try jimmy it loose.
So you do that, and you activate the trap. So as you jam it open, bypassing the lock, there's a needle that shoots out at you, and so
Excellent.
you will suffer. Make a save versus poison.
All right, that time I rolled an 18.
So
So
over?
pass.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is good. There was an and to the damage. I stopped when you started.
Like it's a free healing spell that you just
Yeah, I
get,
know.
so.
Yeah.
So the needle sticks into you, and you still suffer a point of damage from the
Okay.
needle, but the poison does not take hold. And inside, you can see there is a silver oraculary, the holy symbol of the one true God inside. There is a clerical scroll of some sort,
Ooh.
a prayer book stamped with a golden leaf on its front cover, and there's a smaller box within that seems to be almost like a box that contains these little wafers.
Interesting. So I'll hand it over to the friar naturally and say, well, friar, you may have some use for these things. Not for me. They don't like my kind.
He'll just take it, and maybe if he can, he'll just page through maybe what that is. It a prayer book you said, or
Yeah. So you probably have something similar. All of these prayers that you do that come from some kind of a book that you memorize them from. So these would be probably prayers specifically of Saint Sedge. Over by the desk, Sir Geoffrey, you are going to find a drawer that is locked, but it is a very decaying and old desk, so it wouldn't be the lock is not a insurmountable challenge to bypass.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna force the drawer open.
And I'm not even going to roll for that because it's easily smashed open. And inside, you'll find there's just one object in there, an old mold-covered book. Looks like a lot of the moisture that has ruined the desk has maybe gotten into the drawer as well. Although I will say you could see inside the book cover, there is a metal brass something that's like stuck in between the pages.
Like stuck it like between the pages, like closed in.
Yeah, like between like the front cover and the book, there's like this. It almost looks like maybe it's a sheet or something that is made of brass that was stuck or placed in there.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna open that up and examine, see what that is.
You take a look, and it appears to be a poem.
In brass? Etched in brass?
It's etched into the sheet of brass. It reads, "In the verdant wood, 'neath the green wood shade, rode Sir Chyde, a knight of lineage nobly made. With Flagger, his loyal hound, bounding at his side, they sought the hunt's delight, where the wild goes to hide. Through the sylvan groves they heard the resounding call, carried on the gentle breeze its echo with a tender pall. Flagger's ears took to flight, whilst his nose sank to ground. Through bramble and thorn they gave chase without a sound. The resplendent stag emerged from his majestic form, a silhouette against the sky where the sunlight warms. Flagger barked in recognition. Sir Chyde drew his mighty bow, and the age-old dance of the hunt began to flow. The arrow flew, the stag took fright, the chase was on once more. Dolmenwood's embrace, anointed in blood, drawn to the forest floor. As daylight begins its gentle descent, painting skies in hues of gold, they return, man and hound, their stories waiting to be told. In twilight's peaceful hush, by hearth's inviting glow, Sir Chyde and faithful Flagger find respite from their lively show. A knight and hound, in pastoral serenity, forever side by side, their tale of nature's grace and love in Dolmenwood shall abide.
That's
And
beautiful.
that you said is etched on.
Yes, etched in the
Can I
brass
take
sheet.
it out of the book? The
It-
brass sheet.
It's
Is
separate.
it in the book, or can I take it out?
You can take it out easily, yeah. It was just like it
Yeah.
was placed in there to keep it safe or protected or whatever.
Yeah. I'll probably take the whole book and keep the brass sheet inside of it to keep it protected, and just take it.
Is there anything inside this book that would indicate who wrote that?
Wrote the poem on the sheet.
Because
the-
I think that
probably.
that sounds like fantastic words to a song that I may put a tune to that. Be able to.
Probably what you will deduce is that the etching, like the etching, is similar enough to some handwriting in the book that it was probably like a little project of the priest or whatever, that he like worked on etching that into that sheet.
Okay.
But there's not really anything to identify like the identity, I guess, of the priest or whoever that might have been.
I do have a question for you, Friar.
Yes.
I'm somewhat off put by the trap that was on this box. The use of poisons tends to be deemed as evil, not good. Why did it have a poison trap? I mean, I would think that would be perhaps looked down upon or something that would be not used. Poisons tend to not be used by priests, to my knowledge. And I don't know if you have any information on that.
Mm.
Perhaps look deeply into the DM part of your brain.
I would suggest that Friar, you probably can't speak to that.
Oh, we all have our poisons, I guess.
I suppose.
I mean, I would say some of the mushrooms that you take.
Yes, brother, the
You know?
mushrooms. Yes, the mushrooms. Yes, that's why we're here, because of the mushrooms. I'm gonna find that page that all prayer books have that say this book belonged to.
Yeah.
You will be disappointed.
I'm still
Yeah.
sleepy.
I think we should probably get behind that stone door, try to get through that, right?
Yes.
Is there anything else to
agree.
check in here?
You kind of look through some of the crumbling debris and such, but these seem to be the only points of interest that you find in this search.
Alex, those artifacts that we picked up, it was a silver amulet, the prayer book, and it was. You said there was. Could I maybe take a look at that scroll, or does it seem like it's going to take a while to do that?
It is a scroll of hold person.
Ooh, old person. That's nice.
Probably of limited value in your current circumstance, but maybe at a different time it'll become useful.
Mm-hmm. And as far as like the symbolism, it's not like it's been changed. They don't seem like they've been.
No, it's not. It's probably antiquated. Like the symbol
Okay.
of the oraculary has probably slightly changed over the years, but it is more or less. You would recognize it. This is a holy symbol of the times.
Okay.
So, what would the party like to do at this point?
Lillibeth wants to go to sleep behind the stone door.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we could open it and there could be like 14 skeletons, but I think if we stay here, there's just too much chance for worms to come. So I don't think we can stay in this room either way.
So,
I agree.
plan is to make your way over to the north-facing door and open it up and try to find a more secured
Yeah.
location.
So I know that Thomas, you have listening skills. I specifically have a little boost to listening at doors. I don't know
Okay.
if yours is better than mine, but do you have a listen to doors or more like hear noises generally?
Hear noise generally.
Okay. So Alex, I'd like to listen to this door and just kind of like, I know it's stone, but I'm trying to like, maybe listen through the cracks or like try to figure out if there's any noise or anything on the other side.
It is silent.
Great. All clear.
Excellent.
So you open up the door, mark down a turn on the torch, and you come into this chamber, which is full of relief carvings on the walls that depict scenes of war, human versus elf. Not unlike the mosaic in the first chamber that you had uncovered, but this one may be more like kind of the grander scale. It's not highlighting any particular actor in the war. To the north, there are massive double doors that are cut smooth, ceremonial maybe looking in nature. Those doors are tethered to chains that seem to go from the door to these two statues, maybe 6 feet tall, that depict hounds hunting dogs.
Ooh, that is amazing.
Wasn't there a hunting hound in that poem?
Yes,
Sir
Flager.
Chyde's hound. Maybe they buried him here with Sir Chyde.
But this is two. Was there two hounds? I'll look
Is
at the
that-
hounds. Do they look identical or are they like different?
They're like the same breed, but if you're taking a close look, you'll be able to detect little nuances of differences.
Maybe they're his children. I mean, if he loved the dog, maybe he just kept,
Maybe his
Moreen.
maybe his wife or his betrothed had a hound of her own.
Well, that would account for 2.
Well, in either case, I don't see an obvious egress point for the worms here. So maybe this is a safer place to take a rest. It is late, right? Like we were woken up.
Yeah, it's night, 1 a.m.
So I mean, I'm looking at Geoffrey and his leg is just like shredded, right?
Right.
And the Friar has used his spell already on me.
And is the door in the back? I'm gonna go over check out the door in the back. What does it look like?
Double doors to the south here.
Are they less ornate than the big one? Are they less big? It's just
Yeah, they look like the doors that you saw when you came into the chapel, where the 4 objects were. They appear identical to those stone doors.
I'm gonna roll out my bedroll. Actually, I don't even have a bedroll. Oh no, I don't. I'm just gonna lay down on the floor, pull a couple rocks together.
I'm gonna go over and say, I'm fully healthy. Why don't you take my bedroll?
Oh no, I'm perfectly fine. I'm sure. Sure, we're gonna get a nice, lovely rest. I've slept in danker, moldier places than this. I promise.
Okay.
I would almost say, why not just sleep where all the candles are already lit?
Oh, you mean all the big floaty ones?
Maybe we
Injured.
sleep here. Yeah, we'll just.
I'm pretty badly injured. Like one night's not gonna it's gonna help, but I don't think it's gonna be
It's mainly get the spell back.
like I'm still gonna be able to get like knocked down in one hit,
Yeah.
But he can cure wounds you tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So the group is going to attempt to resume their rest. Where did you want to do that? Was it right here?
I was
Or-
suggesting here so that we're less likely to get ambushed by the worms again.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Friar's
Thank
already
you.
like putting his bedroll down.
So take another turn off the torch just for the time that you spent looking at doors and the dogs and whatnot. What were you going to be doing for light during the watch?
If you have a
Got
lantern,
lantern.
yeah, I'd say put that on.
Okay.
One oil?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
And you will have a full rest. And so everybody can recover 1 hit point. Spells are recharged. Now, morning comes. What are you going to be doing for light going forward?
I still have another oil flask.
Okay, so continuing to use the lantern. So we are in the 14th day of chasting. It has been quiet in the tomb. You feel that you've been able to take a little bit of a respite. Now you are left with trying to hear whether that storm has passed. And you don't hear the rain or the storm, no thunder or anything like that. You'd have to go outside to check or confirm that, but there's also a mystery down here in the tomb. So what would the group like to do?
I think the Friar kind of wake up maybe slightly earlier than his brother and walk over kind of to his brother and just say a quick prayer. And he's gonna just slap him on the leg. Wake up! And as he does it, like he's cast that cure wounds.
Sounds good.
Ooh, 5 points of healing.
I'm gonna wake up Apu just to make sure he's okay in there. He's been a rough night and haven't even heard from him. Are you hungry? Do you need anything to eat? One ration. So I'm gonna give you a one ration.
We're gonna
Takes
wake
that
up one of
and
these
starts
days
gobbling
and
that.
all the rations are gone.
He's gonna get into those prayer wafers.
Mhm.
Just you wait.
Oh, well, then we get to see what happens with them.
What is the symbol? Is it like the same symbolicism as like a Catholic Church type deal where they're like hosts type deal, or is it something else? Would he know what those wafers are for?
I don't have a lore answer for it. We would have to
Okay.
make something
All
up.
right.
I would say maybe it's like an antiquated thing. It's like a thing that the Church of the One True God doesn't do anymore,
Mhm.
but was like maybe supposed to represent like a feast, because the saints do have feasting days, and so maybe it was the kind of thing that you say a prayer on the feast day of the saint that you were speaking a prayer through, and it sort of represents, being at his table and having the meal with him or them.
I would say part of a ceremonial blessing.
So you guys had been in this chamber long enough that I think one of you during your watches would have gotten curious enough to maybe take a closer look at that northern door. And there's going to be a detail that you'll pick up. There is an etching very faintly kind of over the framing of the door that reads, "Call to the companions."
Who are the companions? Are the companions dogs? Is that instruction? I never know how to think through these things.
Yes, I've explored a few crypts myself. Sometimes the crypt designers like to be clever and create some kind of intricate complications to opening things and closing things and hiding things. Sometimes they put darts into their prayer books. But what I would say is it's very possible this is a puzzle. And that if we were to call to the companions, maybe speak the right words or manipulate these hounds the right way, that they would reveal the door.
So you're telling me that if we say "here doggy," that they
But we
will.
can call one of them. We know one of them is.
Yeah, I think
Yay.
at that
Mm.
point, Geoffrey's just gonna do that. He's just gonna be like, "Here, Flago, here, boy."
Nothing happens.
He's gonna do some whistling. Joffrey says, "Okay, so if we found this like area where the priest was, where there was like this poem that explained like the companion of Sir Chyde, maybe does it stand to reason that there might be on the other side that we haven't explored? There could maybe be a similar room. Maybe we can
So
explore and discover the name of the other beast."
Yes.
That probably is a fair estimate there, brother. Good thinking.
Well, nice to have you say something nice about me the last couple days. You're
Uh-huh.
mean.
Oh, shut up.
So the party would like to go down this passageway?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the tracking of the lantern, take one turn for the kind of waking up routine and figuring out what you're going to do. And then take a second one just to account for the things that are going to transpire while you're in this room.
Oh,
got it.
So I'm just going to kind of move us along. You open the door and you get into this next chamber. There are statues that are situated around the room, marked by the star. They appear to be statues of footmen. Each of them has... Now, this is dark stone, and that's probably like the same person was the person that crafted all of these statues. Very fine detail that went into them. They more or less look the same, but there are those subtle differences that depict that these were different people. They're all individuals. And they all have very real weapons in their hands. So they are statues, but the weapons that they hold are real. And so one of them has a flanged mace. One of them has a morning star with 2-inch long spikes, a battle axe engraved with a horse's head, a warhammer shaped like a boar. There is a longsword that has these wavy grooves and almost looks like there's like some kind of a tinge of red or something that was mixed in with the metalwork and kind of gives it kind of this very interesting kind of aesthetic.
Bloodiness.
Maybe a little bit like that, but it looks kind of stylistic and almost beautiful. And I think silver. You're gonna see that weapon, and you're going to recognize that that is not made by mortals. That's a fairy craft. There is also a halberd with a moldy pennant on it and a spear with a serrated blade. You will also notice that the walls have a faded mural with mold. You can't really see the scene, but you can see maybe little parts. You can tell that it is probably another scene on the battlefield.
Alex, could I use my rune, my gust of wind, to try to like clear the mold? It's not really it's kind of, a forceful wind. Like, I'm thinking like power washer style. Like,
Sure. So you're going to have everyone kind of back out of the room while you do this?
yeah, just gonna back out, and I'm gonna like, especially in case he like releases spores or something. But I'm curious what's on this mural.
Everybody kind of goes out to the back here, which would make sense. There is, you can see to the south the tunnel kind of open, and so you're going to try to, just kind of blow all of the detritus and the mold, get all those particles down to the south, and like, like you're,
Power washing,
or blowing all the crap away. Into the gutter. So, I think absolutely that's a great use of that ability. And it starts to kind of detach itself from the wall and kind of, you see all that grossness, these hanging pieces of the mold
Some
clear
dust
away.
mite.
Yeah. And then you can see very clearly the battle mural. Figure that looks like Sir Chyde on horseback in battle, his right hand raised with his weapon in hand, about to come down on kind of a row of elves that it seems like he's going to cut through. But near him, next to the horse, is a dog that is pounced on an elf and is like got, kind of like you can see the teeth of the hound bearing outward in a kind of a terrifying visage, and this elf. I don't know how Silver feels about this, but it's almost comical, like that the elf is like kind of fearful of this dog. But you can see that the dog has a collar on, and the collar has a name engraved in it: Chyde.
Chyde. I mean, obviously, we're all looking at this point, but I'll point it out. Now, I have to say, I find it peculiar that statue over there has a fairy weapon. That is a fey make.
And
just
he's
pointing it out.
To me, it would make sense that you would have the weapons of your enemy. They would make weapons.
Sure.
Fey would make weapons to hurt other Fey, whereas mortals may not.
I'm gonna take a
Right.
look at the statue that's holding the sword. Be careful not to touch or anything. Does it seem like it may, like, do I see any mechanisms or anything that if I take the sword that I fear something may happen?
You don't see any mechanisms, no.
I'm just gonna take it out of the thing's hand.
You take it, and you are holding. It's very lightweight, this sword. And, maybe the depiction, you're looking at the sword now, you're holding it. It's the same sword that Sir Chyde is holding in the mural.
I think seeing that, I will. I don't know what would Geoffrey take Sir Chyde's sword in his own tomb? No, he wouldn't. He puts it back. He's gonna say, take a look at it, see if he sees like, with that area that looked like grooved in. Is there anything other than what you kind of described interesting about it, or
Probably the hilt is just kind of molded in a very sleek, it's not trying to impress upon the user like the prowess of the user. It's got kind of this graceful aesthetic.
man.
Elegant, yeah.
Elegant.
Actually, I think upon that, Geoffrey is going to decide that this weapon needs to be used and that it would be a good legacy for, the knight to see the weapon be used. So he is going to take it.
Wait, you're
So-
gonna take it now?
I'm gonna take it. I
That's good. I was gonna tell you to take it.
felt strange. I mean, but this is his. I don't want to steal from him, but this weapon is so fine. It just belongs to be used, and the fact that I'm missing my weapon, it just seems the right place, right time.
You could give your current weapon back to you could exchange weapons. Put
like
your
the way
weapon in his hand.
That just fair, and I'll take the short sword that I kind of haven't been using, that I've been kind of in my scabbard, and I will replace sword for a sword.
Okay.
And I guess for everyone, I have to say, one of two things is the case here with this blade. It's either that your hero and I guess idol or whatever you want to describe this guy stole this weapon from a fairy to use against them, and you can see in the mural he is using it, or this was made for him by a fairy, maybe a
So
fairy that loved him.
I was going to say, what do we already know about it?
We know that he fell in love with this elf, right? This elf maiden.
And not just any elf maiden.
She was like the princess, right?
Mm-hmm. The Cold Princess.
So maybe, as is true with many stories, maybe more is happening here. Maybe he is protecting her. Maybe, I don't know. I read a lot of stories that start off with heroes and princesses and magic swords, and those were always stories.
Speaking of stories, the mural where we saw the Cold Prince fighting Sir Chyde, was the Cold Prince wielding a sword?
Yeah.
In my mind's eye, did it look like this one?
No.
Okay.
It'd been like very like icicles hanging off of it and like over the top like that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I would say
Very cool.
reflecting back, the sword that Sir Chyde was holding in that mural probably is the same as this one also.
Got it.
Silver,
Yes.
from where you're from, if an elf princess were to fall in love with a human mortal, would that be respected or would that be looked down upon?
We are not, one monolithic community. But generally speaking, we tend to look down on the mortals. For the reason why there is truth to the Fae playing tricks on you, because we find you amusing and somewhat like, please don't take this the wrong way, like children. So I would have to say, especially in what are they? The frost elves, ice elves? Shit, what are they called?
The frost elves.
Frost elves would be especially dismissive of such a relationship. My speculation, of course.
Right. So if she fell in love with Sir Chyde, it was looked down upon and actually was what started this war, and the Cold Prince and his armies perhaps came to retrieve her. Would that be a fair assumption?
That's an interesting thought. Alex, do we know enough about the history of this conflict to know it wasn't that, or is it?
People have a general understanding that there was some kind of conflict that happened a long time ago. Probably the notion that it was over some kind of a romantic tryst between a mortal and a fae would not be something that anyone has heard before.
But it's not like, oh no, we've been battling they battled the Cold Prince for like 1,000 years or something like that.
The legend of the Cold Prince would be that he is just sort of this persistent existential threat to the Dolmenwood. He's been here before. He's resurfaced a number of times. The conflict that you all are recalling in relation to Sir Chyde is like the most recent documented event of the Cold Prince. Like the history or the legend would be that the Dolmenwood originally was his domain.
Got it. So I would just kind of comment on that. Just say, well, my 2 cents, Thomas. While I'm with you that I think it would be quite the tale if it were the case that started the conflict. I'm afraid it's mainly a mere chapter. Maybe the most recent chapter, but the Cold Prince more dangerous and petty than just to come to rescue his daughter.
So, Sir Geoffrey, your maiden, what was she asking of you?
It was the ring, right?
A bronze ring.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was.
Bronze ring with
bronze
the
with an
moonstone.
opal or something. Oh, moonstone.
Yeah, moonstone set with a moonstone.
Now you know what they say. You should always do what the Fae ask of you.
I mean, I will do what she asks of me. You haven't seen her. You would do it too.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I
He's
remembered why I was so upset at you.
He's bespelled. He's bespelled.
She's beautiful. We danced, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
We danced all night. She looked into my eyes.
So I may have missed what I was about to ask, but I'm gonna at some point saddle up to the Friar and be like, "Your brother Geoffrey, has he ever been in love physically? I'm trying to ask you a sensitive question, but
Right. He thinks he's been in love. It's been more of a one-way.
okay.
Bit of a lonely man, I would say. I don't know. He's okay. I'm sure I haven't been around him for a bit. I'm sure he's fallen in love.
I'm
I
gonna
should have
say
talked about
Joffrey
that.
has never been with a woman.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to like. I'm trying to read between the lines. Like, how much of this is bewitching, and how much of this is just Joffrey's first
They're not-
like.
They're
you know,
not
like-
required to take an oath of celibacy, but he has.
It's not that he's taking an oath. It's
Not
just that
optional.
It's optional.
it's a little awkward, you know.
I think I understand more today than I did yesterday. So we got the dog's name, so we want to do it. Did we get the impression that we can take the other weapons because they sounded cool?
Yep, the
They
weapons
all-
are real.
And do any of those weapons have any blood on them, or are they pretty much clean?
They are pretty much clean with the exception of the pennant on the halberd.
I think we should try the puppies.
Anyone else want any weapons before we leave?
If nobody wants it, I'll take also that axe and kind of strap it to my back.
Yeah, the one with the horse design.
Yep.
That one sounded cool.
Just make sure y'all are documenting your stuff so you don't forget it, that you have it next time we play.
Yeah.
And I would suggest, Sir Geoffrey, if we are going to call these dogs and stuff, that it be you and you have the sword out. Perhaps the dogs will
Will
recognize the sword.
That was my thoughts.
You return back to that chamber with the hounds chained to the door.
I will pull his sword out, raise it into the air like He-Man, and I will call the pupperoonies. I think it was Flager and Seder?
Shader.
Chater.
And with that, this time you saying those two names in unison, you see the two statues animate, and the dogs pull against the doors. They start to walk towards the south, kind of coming towards you. And the doors open and give you sight into the knight's tomb. You can see in the center of the chamber a stone coffer. It has carvings all around it that harken back to those that maybe you saw earlier in the tomb, where there's some religious symbology kind of carved into the tomb, or the coffer. But there's also sort of this like fey designs, leafy vines, naturalistic kinds of things entwined and intermixed with symbology of the faith of the one true God. You can see that there is hanging across from the tomb a portrait that depicts a fair maiden with long flowing blonde hair, white robe, and upon her brow a star. She is standing amid a circle of stones that looks very much similar to those stones that were situated outside of the tomb. And there is floating near the painting a spectral form of a knight, armored, plate mail with a helm. The visor is raised. He looks thin, drawn with age. He rises to attention, floats about the chamber, maybe just making it to the side of the coffer, and he looks to you all, and he says, "Robbers, have you not taken enough from me? Must you now take my sword as well?"
Well, we just thought such a fine weapon should be used instead of left here.
Are you a
I
knight,
have.
sir?
I am Sir Geoffrey Fitzpatrick of the clan Fitzpatrick.
He, you can kind of see there's an expression on his face like he's trying to search his memory banks to see if there's any association or that he has any connections with you and your family, but he says, "I'm afraid I do not know that name. I am Sir Chyde, and you are here in my tomb for what purpose, sir? If you are of honor, I imagine you have a very good reason for being here."
Yes, I am here for love. The love of an elf maiden who seeks a ring of bronze set with a moonstone.
Come again?
I am on a quest for love.
Hold
I
on. Hold on. Hello. He's gonna just push him out of the way. Hello, Father Fitzpatrick. I am this man's brother. We are here. My brother was drawn here in dreams and such.
The spectral form floating about the room and will make his way over to where Sir Geoffrey is and stare at him. And there's a sorrow in his voice, but there's also definitely a intimidation factor as he looks at you. But he's calm and collected when he delivers his words. And he says, Sir Geoffrey, tread carefully with your assertions. And he looks to the painting, and he looks back at you. The love between myself and Princess Snowfall at Dusk transcends the boundaries of the material and fairy. It is a flame that held the eternal winter at bay. The notion that she would extend romantic overtures to you is beyond the realm of possibility.
I mean, I'm not saying it is the same, elf woman. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that my love, my elf maiden, is seeking a ring of, bronze set with a moonstone. Said it was here. This is the noble quest that I am on.
Sir, you hold my sword, and you have come to loot my body of this ring. Well, you are too late, for someone has already just taken it from me.
Just taken it.
The potheads.
How justly?
It is no justice in this.
But how long ago? Well, which way did they go?
Was but a night ago. Creature tricked my hounds, bypassed the magical wards, the religious wards on this place, and took the ring.
Well, I can't abide by that.
This place has stayed sanctified for 850 years, and now break-ins like this occurring just a day apart.
Ask him about the ring.
What is the significance of the ring? Was it given to you by your love, or what does it do?
It is a long tale. I will shorten it for you. But yes, we fell in love. And just in the stones that stand outside my tomb, we did declare our love for one another, and in doing so bound our souls together. That ring is a representation of that bond and that union. It allows us to be entwined even now, even in my death.
Yuck. That doesn't sound comfortable.
So she is still alive.
She is still alive. As he says this, he is just exuding this sorrow. Like you could just see a face tinged with regret and sadness. And
Maybe that is why she wants the ring.
if she contacted you, I imagine that is the reason. To unify us once more. She was taken long ago by her father.
So
Right.
what happens if she has the ring?
Then I can be at peace, and I will be with her once more.
Oh, that sounds like a great quest, Geoffrey.
That is noble. Yes.
I think we should give her the ring. I think she needs it. I think you need it.
Like I said, it is no longer here. It is gone. It was taken by that creature.
What? Describe the creature. I will pledge myself to seeking this creature out and delivering the ring.
Strange, lithe creature with a jug on its head. Large sword strapped to its back. Capered in here and without a thought, without any care, plucked it from my skeleton there in the coffer. So, am I to understand you are not here to plunder my grave, but are indeed you were contacted by her?
Yep, this is what I was telling you.
We've been chasing him all over the countryside, trying to find out where he is while he's been shouting about this woman who's been asking him to do things. And
It's very
Oh, yeah.
important. She is very beautiful, and she needs my help.
Probably not in love with you, though.
yes, that
Look, you should see the way she looks at me, okay?
No, he did. I'm gonna kind of stand like on the side of like Sir Chyde. No, I don't think so. We need to help Sir Chyde, and we apologize for even disturbing you here.
There's an annoyed side glance that he gives Sir Geoffrey, and then he turns to you, Friar, and he says, "If you would risk so much to help me get back to my beloved, my betrothed, I would be forever in your debt.
At least I speak for myself. I will be on this quest to help him.
My sword being used in the service of returning me home, there could be no greater reason for you to have it." And he kind of gives a nod and a bow to Joffrey. "But it will be a long journey to get there. First, you must find the ring, if you can, from this thing, presuming it is still around, and bring it here. Allow me to bind with it. Once you've done that, we must go to the land of Phrygia, the cold prince's home. The bond between me and Princess Snowfall is such that our realms draw close. There is a method of entering that realm in the bowels of my tomb.
Basement?
Yes. From there, we can step into the land of Phrygia. It will be cold. It will be harsh. But there, she is imprisoned, kept in a tower, locked away as punishment by her father.
800 years?
Yes.
Needs our help. We must find this pothead. We know which way he headed. We may be able to pick up a trail. Is there anything else you think we should know before we embark from this tomb to further this quest?
I'm not sure if there's anything useful I can impart upon you. If you have further questions for me, I'd be glad to share what I know.
What is the purpose of the mirror, the magical mirror in the front of your tomb?
I am unaware of any such mirror.
Hmm.
I apologize. I have been stuck here ever since my entombment
In this room?
in this chamber. The only way I may leave it is if I have the ring.
I don't think I have anything else for Sir Chyde. Do you guys?
I'm staying quiet as a mouse.
During this whole thing, like Silver, like once in a while, Sir Chyde's eyes or his sight seems to like glance upon you, and you think you notice like sort of a nod of respect at some point.
Okay.
You're not reading any animosity really.
I'll give him a nod back, but still tread carefully.
There's another question I do have. We found a writing that in poetic form described you and your hound Flagger hunting a stag. I was curious if that story was true and if there was anything special about the stag that you hunted. Or if it was just a deer.
He says, interesting. I don't know if I'm known so much for my hunting prowess, although I did go on many a hunt with Flagger prior to the war.
I could read it to you.
Please." And as you read it aloud, he seems amused by the poem. And he just sort of comments, "I find it heartwarming a bit that someone would take the time to write a poem about me on a hunt with my dog versus my time on the battlefield. I quite like that. Thank you for sharing this poem." So you share this poem with Sir Chyde, and you, for the first time, you can kind of see the sorrow. You cut through that a little bit by sharing this poem.
Very well.
And so, what would the group like to do?
Okay, so if I'm understanding this, basically, this is our plan. We're going to hunt down this tomb raider, find the bronze ring with the moonstone, come give it to Sir Chyde, and then piss off the cold prince.
Yep, royally.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to be clear that.
It's in stages. We're not there yet.
Okay.
And
All right.
Sounds like an excellent level 1 quest.
Correct. All right. All
well, he
right.
may not be paying much attention. I mean, she's,
It's been 800
she's an
years.
exile. Well, Silver, does that matter? 800 years? I mean, to me, it sounds like a long time, but
It is sure to make a wonderful story.
that's-
Brother, this whole time, were you just playing us? You really knew this story and you felt that you had to pretend you were in love to get us here?
She's in love with what? Listen, I know what Sir Chyde is telling you. She likes me. She likes me.
I'm going to do something wicked right now. I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab Sir Geoffrey. And I am going to plant a very big, wet kiss on him. Force it on him, which is bad. And I acknowledge that. And just to see what he does. Because I did not hear the conversation and I have my own.
I think
What do you do?
Geoffrey's just gonna freeze. He's probably just gonna be like, yeah, frozen. Like you'd step away and you could push him and he would fall over like bored.
Sir
There is your
He's just frozen.
Sir Chyde just kind of like turns his back and goes back to like looking at the painting, just like almost like whistling, like I didn't see.
I don't know. Yeah, Sir Chyde, I don't know. I'm over there with him. We're just chatting over there.
I could share with you stories of the war.
There, I think the point is made. Can we? We'll bring the ring.
I will
Yeah.
be forever in your debt should you do so. If there is any aid that I can lend you, such as it is, I'm afraid there's not much I can do to help, but linger here and wait for your return.
Oh, then we better get moving.
We don't want to lose the trail of the pothead.
Sounds good. Mark another turn on the lantern.
Alex, that guy with the pothead, the ones that we had seen previously that were by the twins' place stealing the pies or whatever.
Yeah.
Did those have weapons
They did not.
as well? Okay. Yeah, this one.
It was a heavy weapon too. Like it looked like a two-handed sword strapped to its
Right.
back.
Right. I mean, I had the image that this was kind of like a larger one. The other ones were just kind of running around it, but this one looked like a warrior type, right?
I don't know if physically he looked any bigger or muscular or larger. He probably looked the same, other than the fact that he did have that large. Like it would almost be like Final Fantasy VII comical, like him wielding the sword, like his little arms, like improbably like swinging that. Like you haven't seen that yet, but you're trying to like conjure up the image of him like swinging that sword around, and it seems like what?
I'll tell you what's in my head when you describe him is Pyramid Head.
Yeah, I think 100%. Like that's it, right? Like
This gigantic sword that just
But with like a
dwarfs
pothead.
him.
yep.
Yes.
Do these things work for anybody, or I mean, it seems like it was very specific what it was looking for.
If it's not working for somebody, it's working for itself. It's certainly on a mission and it has a purpose. The fact that we came here for the same thing that it did at the same time, that cannot be a coincidence.
And maybe
100 years of this being a possibility of happening, and boom, within 24 hours. So
Mhm.
I think that it just might be a hint that whoever is working to keep the princess from getting the ring is aware that she's trying to get it.
well, maybe that's her father.
Most likely is, I would say.
And why would he?
I would say the best guess is that the pothead is working for the Cold Prince.
Certainly possible. Fae are known for manipulation. And like you said, the coincidence is a little much for me the day before.
Maybe he stole the sword too. We're ready to go on an adventure, right? We're ready to get out of this tomb. Yes.
All right. So the group emerges from the mound, and you return back to the outside. A balmy summer day. The storm clouds have cleared. The earth is very wet and has soaked up much of that rainwater. It's kind of squishy underneath your boots as you come out. But sunlight coming down into this clearing, the sounds of the birds and the wildlife off in the distance, but there is a distinct song on the air that is not from mourning doves or things like that. There is a feminine voice that is singing, not to an audience. It's maybe a little off key, but pleasant to hear. It is a song that is coming to the south, and you're looking down towards those standing stones, and there you can see a young woman, very petite, cropped black hair, chestnut brown eyes, a freckled nose. She is sitting in a white gown with an apron embroidered with fungal and floral motifs. She's got her back to one of the stones, and she's kind of kicked back in this like kind of relaxing pose. 16 years of age, reading a book and kind of humming to herself. Doesn't seem to recognize your presence as you're coming out of the tomb.
Did we happen to ask the Druid what his daughter looked like? I don't remember. Okay.
Not.
I don't think so.
Do we know her name?
We really should have asked that question.
Did you even ask
No,
the
I don't
druid's
think we
name?
did.
I don't ever. Did you ever ask him his name?
No, we just were like scared to death and trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, please don't kill us. We'll do what you want.
Yeah,
In my defense, I was tripping balls.
that's true.
So-
You were?
I don't think I was there. I think I was tripping balls on a different trip.
Yep.
That's
You
true.
You were
Yeah.
definitely true.
We did a great job.
He tried to tell us a lot of things. We just never ask any questions.
Yeah, we just walk up and be like, just like, I'm just gonna walk towards her.
Oh,
Be like, hello. How are you doing?
Hi.
Beautiful song.
Mm-hmm. I'm good.
Does she look Drunish?
Um,
I don't think they were
Sounds
afraid.
no, not a silly question. They kind of are. So,
Oh, okay.
so I think all of the Druin that you have seen have had like black hair, right? Kind of pale skinned, and this is probably the first freckled Druin that you have seen. But yeah, like if you're comparing her, like you only have really two things to compare her to, but those two people, like there are some similar physical features that you might see in her.
So we would surmount by looking at her that she may be the Druid's daughter.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And as Silver goes to kind of call out and talk to her, she kind of gives you like a dismissive, like, hello. It looks like maybe like a little annoyed that you're disturbing her, but she's giving you some attention right now. She's just reading a book and she's just kind of singing or humming to herself. She sees you like emerging from the tomb and she's like, find anything good? You robbing tombs?
Oh, I got this nifty spear. It's got a little serrated edge in the end. Yeah, but
My father
Yeah.
would probably be particularly upset with you for going into that particular mound
why is that?
because we guard it.
For what purpose?
You don't know?
No, just an innocent tomb robber.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm probably not going to tell you.
It's a good teenager.
Yep.
Hi.
She's got
So-
all that teenage sass is going to be thrown at you.
It's got to be because of the portal to the fairy realm, right?
Oh, you must be the brains of this little group here. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
wow.
appreciate
Wow. Yeah, no, we met your dad.
Oh, the
Really?
jig is up.
Come on.
Yeah, no, we did. He sent us here, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I have a feeling that maybe have been playing games with Dad.
Huh. That's surprising. He's usually a hard ass.
He was a hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is that maybe you're telling him that somebody's bothering you. And here you are sitting out here, not looking very bothered at all.
Okay.
I gotta pause
Okay.
for 1 second and
She's-
say that, like,
She's looking bothered right now.
she is. But I just to say that, like, when I was a kid in the 90s, I was explicitly told that if someone says, "Hey, I know your dad," and they're a stranger, that's stranger danger.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly.
we are committing stranger
There's a lot
danger
of
right
stranger
now.
danger.
Oh,
right now.
You know
and-
your dad.
We're friends with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm doing woman speak here.
Yeah.
So
She's just
I
like, nobody's
recognize
friends with
the-
my dad. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just calling her out that she's playing games. That's all. And doing it from the side of I've been there, done that.
yeah. So she says, okay, I understand what's going on. So basically, my dad can't spend any time away from those stones that he's guarding so relentlessly that he sent you all here to do his fatherly duty and protect his daughter.
Yep, got it.
Absolutely
In
correct.
one.
Typical.
Mm,
Well,
that's,
it's not untrue. I have been being bothered by this creepy little creature. Scampers around with a urn on his head.
Oh no, I'm not laughing at you. That's just so rich.
Well, he's getting more aggressive, and he's just been gifts nonstop.
Did he give you any particular gift in the past couple of days?
I haven't
Maybe a
seen him in a couple of days. It's been maybe 3 or 4 days since I last saw him, but he gave me some. She like holds up. She like kind of digs around in her pocket. You just see it's like a piece of jewelry, like a necklace with
Mm-hmm.
some cheap jewels on it.
So
I'm gonna work with my brother. We're both gonna make the same noise. You're like,
So I have a question for you. But I'm sorry. I'm silver upon his brow. Your name?
My name is Paulith.
Paula. That's a very interesting name. So I have a question for you, Paula.
Gee,
How
thanks.
would you like to be bait in like a grand trap for this Ern pothead guy?
So this thought filtered through your brain, and that was the best way to articulate that.
Well, I mean, of course, because I could try to pretend like, we're doing something as a favor for you or we're helping you, or that I could say in some sort of a way that like is phony. And I figured you're a straight shooter. Let's just cut to the chase. You
Oh.
be the bait. We draw a little Ern guy in. We smash him. Problem solved.
So what does that look like to you? I mean, like, am I gonna go and like lay prone on the forest floor? Is that? I mean, I'm not exactly like. She's just like kind of gesturing around, like, what am I doing right now? If not,
Well, I guess the question would be, when he approaches you, what's normally the context? Are you sitting here? Are you
Well-
wandering around?
yeah, I'm usually maybe collecting. She's got like a basket next to her. She's like either collecting mushrooms or berries, or maybe I'm sitting here enjoying myself, in which case I would throw this book at him and tell him to frig off. Typically how it happens.
So maybe.
let me ask you, have you like talked to him? Maybe seen if he's a nice guy?
He smells like ass.
Have you told him that? I mean,
Yes.
sometimes
It never works, does it? You can say that and they never listen.
Never. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He might just be in love.
Ew.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's his problem.
I'm 16. I still live at home. He's got a jug for a head.
So,
Different people all around this globe. Let's not go down that road.
well, no, let's go down a road that's slightly tangential. But anyway, so what are you reading? Paulus, what are you reading?
Oh, I'm sorry. What are you reading?
Yeah.
She holds up a book. She like her attitude, like when you start to like inquire about what she's reading, like total 180. Like she gets like, somebody's interested in the thing I'm interested in. Yeah, she goes into that and she's like, "Oh, well, this is a book I got from my dad. I don't know where he got it from, but it is fascinating. It's all about the Cold Prince and Horblight Keep, his home here in the Dolmenwood."
That sounds so interesting. Does it have? So, what are the stories? Is he cruel?
Oh, absolutely
under-
cruel.
Ooh, does he have a daughter too?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track though. There's like 37 of them or something.
37 daughters? Oh my god.
I'm trying to keep notes. It's very convoluted throughout the story. Like sometimes it seems like, are they talking about the same daughter? I don't know.
So
Well, we do
have
live
you ever-
a long time.
that is true. So do you know about the do you know anything about this whole place that you've been guarding and how it relates to the Cold Prince? Because we found so many cool things.
The man that's entombed in there had a romantic relationship with one of the princesses. You know that already. It's not too
Oh.
big news for you, but their love was forbidden by her father, the Cold Prince, and so she was taken from him during the midst of the war as it was heating up, locked away in a tower around a lake or a frozen lake or something like that, I think. And she's kind of flipping through the book trying to reference parts of the tale.
Okay, so here's what we found out while we were in there, because your dad really did send us here, and yes, he sent us here to protect you, but then in the process of doing that, we went in there and we actually talked to Sir Chyde.
You talked to him?
Yeah. You could probably do the same thing. I mean, we could
Yeah.
take you in and introduce you, and then you guys could have a conversation. What we found out was that he's stuck, and the only way that he can actually be unstuck is if we get back something hotheads. So,
Oh, okay.
and it's really romantic. You just have to hear him talk about it because he looks kind of hot and
Yeah.
sad.
I want to
and,
hear about the
you know,
war.
Oh, that's all over. You can go in there. They have battle murals and everything else.
Oh.
We cleaned off some of the mold, and so that's in there.
That sounds
Are
wicked.
you allowed to go in? Would your dad allow that?
Well, I mean, you guys already kind of rolled the stone out of the way. Maybe I'm just checking it out to see if anything is misplaced.
Totally be part of your job, right?
I mean, you wouldn't tell him, would you?
No. Why would we do that?
You guys cool?
Well,
I'm looking at all of you. You are cool.
we have mushrooms.
Depending
We
on
have-
depending on the mushroom, that might be a sign that you're cool.
Have you been taught in the ways of magic as other Droon?
No, but I'd
No.
like to.
Okay.
I've heard that there are witches within the forest that are willing to teach women how magic works. Kind of magic that men won't teach you.
Really?
Yes, but you have to be adopted in. I just haven't met anybody willing to
So, but you've talked to them already too.
No,
Okay.
but I'd very
Well.
much like to. Do you know of any witches?
Honestly, we know of sorcerers and wizards. Maybe same thing.
Oh,
One of
no.
our friends, but they've and only one who was a woman, maybe two. That's the same thing as the witches.
Well, you would let me know if you do, right?
I'm serious. I mean, you're stuck here. Your dad's going to keep you sort of like tied to his side forever and ever unless you do something. You need to go out and find out who you are. We all do.
Thank you. I've been trying to create that wedge myself, but we don't know anything really beyond this. We haven't even been to the Droon village.
You haven't been to the Droon village?
No.
Where is that located?
To the northwest, near Lake Longmere.
So my question is, and I'm looking around to the entire group. So if we're going to ask you to do something cool and maybe adultish, like being bait in a trap, would you like to meet the person that you might be saving? And maybe that's something we can do right now. I think there's enough of us to keep you safe, and maybe you don't need us really.
She says, let's just get the thing first, and then I'll go with you to talk to him.
Okay.
So how does
So-
this work? What do you need me to do?
Hold that thought. What do we need her to do? I guess just sort of stay there where she's at, and we need to go and do something else.
I think we need to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to come up with, where we're going to kind of set her as the bait, and then we would probably want to circle that area. Like if we found some kind of tree or something that was in a clearing, and then we could hide on the outside of the clearing, and
Mhm.
when he approaches her, those of us behind him can kind of come in and kind of surprise him, and then those in front of him, once he's already been surprised, can kind of rush in.
Yeah.
Thing.
And one of us has to be dedicated to getting her out of there if we need to.
Mhm.
I think you would be perfect for that.
Okay.
She definitely has a trust for you now above us.
What can I say? So, yes.
So your plan is to stay here in this spot and maybe kind of keep her as she is and wait in the roughage on the east and west of the trail that leads to the mound?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. How will I resolve this? So you have no guarantee when this figure will show up, if he will show up. It is based on what she is saying, he does fairly frequently try to approach her and bequeath unto her some kind of gift or something like that. So I'm going to say there's a chance that he will show up. I'm basically going to treat that like a wandering encounter. Like if I roll wandering encounter, we'll make it maybe not so wandering and have it be him. But that's how time and the passage of time will work here. So you all, she just kind of goes back to reading her book, singing her song, maybe a little bit louder to entice the barrel bogey to arrive. But as the entirety of the 14th day of chysting passes, he does not emerge.
He seems persistent. I would say he'll eventually come here.
Yeah, but she can't stay out here all night. She's got to go back
Mhm.
home.
And that's basically what she is going to be saying at this point. She's just going to be like looking up at the sky. She'll pick up her basket and put her book away, and she'll say, well, it was a nice try. I'm going to go back home because I don't sleep out in the woods. And she's like looking at all of you are just filthy and dirty. And she's like you all apparently do. But,
We do.
we could try again tomorrow, I suppose.
Should we walk you back at least?
Sure. Yeah, if you guys want to come hang out at our cottage, I don't think my ma's going to let you inside or anything, but you can hang around.
We have a tent. Maybe we can sort of pitch it close by, but I want to make sure you get home okay, because sure enough, as soon as we leave, he'll show up.
So you are going to go with her then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should.
She will take you to a pretty small, compact cottage made of timber that's situated in a dreamy glade where there is so it's very picturesque. There's like a little stream that runs through right near the little home. You can see there is a woman there, older, who is like doing some laundry on an old scrubbing washboard by the stream. And she gives a wave to her daughter and then very quickly runs over and grabs her daughter and kind of very protectively pulls her kind of away from your group as she's glaring at you all. And she says, pray tell, who are you? Why are you coming here? And then she's, the daughter's like, it's cool. They're with me. They know dad. And then she's like, the mom, kind of raises an eyebrow, like, really? And then she's like, well, this is highly unusual.
I find it very humorous thinking that the dad's day job is being a droon. It's he goes back to his cottage.
Yeah, and you'll pretty quickly get the sense he doesn't really come back home
Often.
if hardly ever. But I don't know if there's any particular interaction that you're wishing to have with her, but she will get calmed down by the daughter and eventually be like, okay, you are all staying 100 feet out that way. That's where you make your camp, and you'll continue your business in the morning. But
can we get some at least a bucket of water, maybe, or two, or at least let us know where there is one, because we are filthy.
She'll throw you a bucket and she says, get your own water.
Okay, I can do that.
And there is no hospitality that is granted here. Like there is no food or anything like that. Like you're basically being tolerated. So, with that, why don't we very quickly maybe go through and do some gratitude as we're wrapping up the session here today.
Cool. I'll jump out and just give some gratitude over to Moreen for the role play with the teenager. That was a good save, and definitely it was a really nice and organic way of getting our problem hopefully solved. So it was awesome.
I'll throw some out to Maureen too. One of the things that I noticed numerous times today is her attempting to herd us cats as we're getting off subject and going down all kinds of rabbit holes. She's like, "Come on, let's focus in here, everybody." So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw mine out to Isaac just for constantly keeping the older brother pressure on. You know, I've severely disappointed him in leading him down here, and he'll never let me forget it. I kind of love it.
And even when he tried, you're like, no, it's for love. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm going to throw out gratitude basically to you for Geoffrey, for being Geoffrey and staying in that so intently throughout, just again, the brother interaction between you and Isaac, just great. And then it just continues to drive the storyline into these little interesting places. Like now knowing it's going to be so much fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think I might give it mine to Ryan for always allowing me to be like, yeah, I didn't want to say what your character was, but I think maybe he, as a brother, he would probably say, no, I've never seen him with anyone. Kind of just a weirdo. But thank you for
Geoffrey, a bit of an incel, okay?
Oh no!
I'm saying unintentionally celibate.
Oh.
We're going down this path.
Yeah, not by choice. But yeah, thank you I have a lot of fun with that with you, Ryan. And I wanted to give it to Moreen too, just for the fact that you did a great job. It was I think the rest of us were out of our element at that point, and you just took the reins, and yeah.
Yeah, no, middle school teacher, there was just no way that I could jump right into that.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Great job, one and all. It was a great session. Also, a great session from the standpoint you got some pretty good treasure stuff going on this time.
Yeah.
So that
Hey.
you're gonna get some EXP from the book with the stamped leaf and the silver holy symbol. Those are all worth a bit of coin. You got a clerical scroll and that sword.
Oh yeah.
Pretty nice sword. Maybe you don't need to go to Lakeshore anymore.
Oh.
I'm glad I did.
So I guess I should. Maybe I'll just remind. I'm not going to tell you what it is or what it does.
Okay.
But if I fail to say something about it, whenever you inevitably get into a conflict with this barrel bogey, just remind me that you're using Sir Chyde's sword.
Okay.
So awesome. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out with us here this morning. Thanks for listening. I believe we're back on schedule here. So we're going to have another game this week and we'll get back onto our regular schedule. So next game where we will be live will be June 3rd, and then we'll be back on our 2-week rotation and falling back into that pattern. So yeah, so you can get back-to-back weeks of Dolmenwood this time. Just come see us on Saturday. But with that, I don't believe we have anything more this weekend. We'll be back. As always, we do encourage you to come and join us in our Discord server. That's where you can stay up to date with our schedule, and you can also find games to play in through our community campaign or the other things that people post in the LFG. So with that, take care, everybody. We will see you all soon, and we will do a raid to roll for good. See what they're up
Oh,
to.
nice.
So thanks, everybody. We will see you all soon.
Bye.
Arthur says goodbye too.
Yeah.